Hey guys, it's Bieber. So today we're going to be looking at this beautiful little boy, DeOrr Kunz. This case is from 2015 and he is still considered missing. Now, there were 4 people at the actual site. It was a campsite, a remote campsite, where they say vanished, but we know there's no such thing as vanished. But there are 4 people, and we're just going to go over this little timeline. But on Friday, July 10th, 2015, baby DeOrr, his father, mother, great-grandfather, a family friend, had traveled 120 miles from Idaho Falls to Timber Creek Campground in Leadore. Now, this campsite is remote, and it takes around 2.5 hours to drive from Idaho Falls. And at around about 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon, DeOrr's mother, Jessica Mitchell, she calls 911 and reports her son missing. Search crews arrive and begin to look for baby DeOrr. On Saturday, July 11th, searchers look on horseback, ATVs, foot, and in water for baby DeOrr. They focus on 2.5-mile radius around the campground. Now, when Jessica, she had left the baby with the grandpa. So that is where the baby, her and Vernal, the husband, well, no, they're not married, boyfriend, the father of DeOrr, they went off to go do a little sightseeing. And now they were gone for about 15 or 20 minutes. And when they got back, the boy was gone. They searched for about 20 minutes, and then that's when they called police. Now, on July 12th, the Lemhi County Sheriff's Office report nearly 200 volunteers showed up to look for DeOrr. His grandfather, his grandfather says it appears that he just vanished. Now, the mother, Jessica, she also, says that the baby never went anywhere without his blanket, his cup, or his toy monkey. And none of these things were at the campsite. This extensive search, it just went on. There was, like I said, 200 volunteers. And the parents, they've speculated that the boy was taken. But police have no reason to believe.
Sheriff Lynn Bowerman has no idea what happened to DeOrr Kunz, but he's 99% sure the 2-year-old was at the Timber Creek Campground on July 10th.
Do you believe it was an abduction?
Personally, I think an abduction is one of the least likely events. Primarily, the information we have is Grandpa's watching the child. He tells me he looks away momentarily. When he looks back, he's gone, and he's assumed he's gone over the bank. Right where Grandpa's sitting, he's within 20 to 30 yards of the only roadway into the campground. And absolutely no one was seen at that lower campground coming or going. And when my personnel went in, nobody was seen leaving.
Bowerman is opening up about the case that has so many unanswered questions. He says late on Thursday, July 9th, not Friday, DeOrr, his parents, great-grandfather, and a friend of Grandpa named Isaac Reinwand arrive at Timber Creek. The next morning, Bowerman tells me DeOrr goes with his parents to a store in Leadore, about 20 minutes from the campsite.
Was there any surveillance captured of this boy, surveillance video?
I don't believe they have a surveillance, but we have a receipt that we've documented that they purchased certain items. They were on the receipt. The time was stamped on the receipt. And so we believe, that's where they went.
Did they stop any other places on their way up to Leadore?
Yeah, they stopped to get some diesel fuel.
Diesel fuel.
Yeah.
Any surveillance video at that gas station?
So let's see who we got, who was on site, who was the last people to potentially see this baby alive. We have Mom, Jessica Mitchell, Dad, Vernal DeOrr Kunz Jr., DeOrr's father, and we have Jessica's grandfather, DeOrr's great-grandfather, Robert Walton, and Robert Walton's friend, Isaac Reinwand. Reinwand, not sure. I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments. But this is who we have, the last people to see this baby alive. So they scour a 3-mile radius all around this remote area. And I mean, they have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of volunteers. They continue searching to no avail. And of course, the rumor mill swirls around. A community is shook. So around 2 months in since he's been missing, the parents release a statement. Please keep your eyes out for our precious baby boy. We miss him so much and just want him home where he belongs. If you have our son, please don't hurt him. Just bring him home to us. We love you so much, little man. Thank you to everyone for your loving words and kindness. Now, sometime around August of 2015, Jessica and Vernal, they start working with a private investigator. His name is Frank Vilt. He's a retired U.S. Marshal, and he has years of law enforcement experience. He says he does feel like the boy was kidnapped. This was, this is what he come out and said initially. He felt like the boy had been abducted. He says everything points to an abduction, and the parents have been cooperative. Now, mind you, this is the initial reports. He says that when they went into town, the family went into town that morning. After they arrived, they had picked up a few groceries and bought some French fries for DeOrr, the baby. And he said there was a man there, and he was staring at baby DeOrr. And this made Jessica feel uncomfortable, kind of eerie. He says he's going to look into it. He talked to hundreds of people within the community in that day and, just following up on all leads possible. So on September 25th, 2015, this is a statement that Mr. Frank Vilt sent to the family of little baby DeOrr, to Vernal, Kunz, and Jessica Mitchell. As I have previously informed you today via text message, your cellular phone to telephone at 8:31 a.m., I am withdrawing from the investigation because of circumstances beyond my control, including but not limited to a breach of trust on your part concerning your refusal to allow me to make this case national. I am perplexed as to why you did not want me to advertise the $20,000 reward. I was willing to put up my own personal funds in hopes that the public could provide information leading to the whereabouts of your son. When I agreed to assist you, I informed you that I would work out of my own pocket expenses. I was willing to forego my normal hourly fees. My stipulation was that both of you would be absolutely truthful. I told both of you that if I felt you were not telling me the truth, stalling me, or otherwise misleading me, that I would withdraw from the investigation. In my professional opinion, both of you lied and misrepresented the true facts that could solve the mystery of your missing son. There are other aspects of this case that I cannot go into at this time, but simply put, I believe that the searches will be non-productive. The searches are only used by you to cover a possible crime that one or both of you may have committed. Emphasis added. My suggestion is that you fully cooperate with the Lemhi County Sheriff and tell the truth. I do not appreciate the fact that one or both of you are spreading rumors that you have paid me. I have not received reimbursement to cover my expenses. I also feel that you are exploiting the public for financial gain. How can you live with yourselves? Sooner or later, the truth will come out. That was a mouthful from a private investigator that they asked to help them. So, a few months later, another investigator was retained. He is outside of Texas, and well, he's from Texas, and his name is Philip Klein. And boy, hold on, because it just doesn't get better from here. So, in November of 2019, this is when he was hired. Well, by January 18th, 2016, he came out with some pretty revealing things. He says he believes that DeOrr was killed, either accidentally or on purpose. His investigations have ruled out the possibility that the child was taken by animal or abducted. Klein agreed to participate in an interview with Nate Eaton, and this was a pretty lengthy interview, but that's just when he laid it all out, and he started recreating the case. They went back and they talked to, re-interviewed everybody, all the locals, everybody that was there at the campsite, talked to, everybody involved. And it wasn't very long before he came out with his own statement. In November of 2015, KIC Texas accepted the case of the missing child, DeOrr Kunz Jr., who went missing from a campground near Leadore, Idaho, July 2015. There have been so much speculation by the public, family members, and press regarding this young child's disappearance. Today we announce to the public and the media the closing of Phase 3 of our case and our conclusion to date. The following are our conclusions regarding this case. The conclusion by a civil investigation team of what happened to DeOrr Kunz is officially death by accident/homicide. The following persons of interest or suspects with direct knowledge: Vernal DeOrr Kunz, Jessica Mitchell, and Robert Bob Walton. The investigation continues regarding Isaac Reinwand, as he has begun to cooperate with investigators and has given a further statement. Those claims and proffers are being evaluated at this time. The final phase of our investigation will be recovery. We believe through evidence and witness statements we will be able to recover a body in this case. We continue to agree with Sheriff Bowman and his statements this past week, which I'll go back and read that in just a second, but the sheriff, he come out with their own statement and says that they were suspects. As we too had to deal with multiple timeline of events, we further agree with law enforcement teams around the United States that are involved with this case. Both Vernal Kunz, Jessica Mitchell know what happened on that mountain in July of 2015. We want the police to know we believe through evidence the family members of Kunz, Mitchell, and Walton are not involved. However, we believe they are too close to their family members and are in denial, and it's very evidence clear of that. So what he's saying right there is that he doesn't believe that their family's involved, but that they need to wake up, because them enabling and covering and not being forthcoming and just, like he said, point blank in denial. So was getting a lot of resistance with that. Now I've watched several interviews with the mother and the father, which they're now split up and they've moved on and have separate lives. But her son, her other child, he lives with his father. So I mean, and there was speculation about that. Why did the other kid live somewhere else? What happened to baby DeOrr? And this guy Isaac, he may seem off somewhat, but he doesn't seem culpable. He seems socially awkward, which sometimes that can be a profile, a little characteristic, but he does kind of seem genuine. He seems shook, like he don't want to open his mouth. He's scared he may say something. The great-grandfather has since passed away from cancer. and they have gone, Philip Klein and Jessica and Vernal, they've gone back and forth in and out of court through defamation and lawsuits, and there's just been a lot of, nothing resulting in the baby's body being found or the baby being found. But I don't know. I do think the parents were involved. I've seen some interviews and I've seen some things, and I'm like, well, maybe not, but things don't add up. And her grandfather probably died with that secret. They do seem kind of like they was covering for each other to a degree. Now, there was an interview, I don't know, maybe last year, with the father and the mother. They were kind of, just talking, and Vernal, he seems really convinced that, something's going to come out, it's going to vindicate them, and they're really working on something big, and I hope they are. And, 1,000% will eat my words. You don't ever, I can't understand how somebody would hurt their child like that to that degree. So you don't ever want to think that. But at the same time, if things don't add up and they seem weird, I mean, people in the true crime community, they know, they see these cases all the time, sadly. And, people will lie straight to your face, especially if they don't want to get caught. And this is from the sheriff, Lynn Bowerman, former Lemhi County sheriff. They could not pass the section on, do you know where DeOrr Kunz is at this time? And do you know what happened to him? They could not pass those two parts of the polygraph, the mother or the father. He continues, we've given them too many opportunities to tell us what happened. If it was an accident, there has been no interest in going that direction. So that tells me there's only one other possibility, and it has to be homicide. So, I mean, at this point, you have the two investigators who flat out said they do not believe the parents. The sheriff has listed them as suspects, not persons of interest. And, I mean, it looks, smells, quacks, acts, and thinks like a duck. Most of the time, it's a duck. But there is no body. They are presumed innocent. And, if they're not involved, then my God, how awful. It's been 5 years. Over 5 years. I don't know, guys. I'm going to leave some links in the description. Y'all check out these little documentaries and little things. Nate Eaton is great. Obviously, he's the one. I want to obviously, but most of y'all recognize that name. He's been great with the J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan, the death of those babies. Anyways, guys, y'all comment down below. Tell me y'all's thoughts. Tell me what y'all think happened to this beautiful baby. And always like, share, and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.